Welcome back to the Be Ruthless Show. I'm your host, Sam Ruth, and joining me today are Jeff and Jennifer from Gears in Heaven, a 501c3 nonprofit organization comprised of dedicated, compassionate volunteers and generous donors, mission to offer comfort and support to the families of motorsport enthusiasts who are killed or seriously injured in a vehicle accident. Thank you so much for being here. Why don't you tell everyone how you started this and why?
Hi. So, our son Brandon for last row, he came home on his birthday morning, May 1st, 2022, to get his bike, which he kept at our home. He loved all things motorsports. He was a huge car enthusiast, bike enthusiast, anything that had a motor, like my husband always says, he was into it. He stopped by and grabbed his bike and said, "Mom, I'm going to meet some friends for breakfast." And off he went with his girlfriend. And unfortunately, about half an hour later, not even, his friends came into the driveway and told us that there was a very bad motorcycle accident down the street and that they think it was Brandon, that he was involved in the accident. And of course, when you hear this, you say to yourself, well, he must be stuck in traffic for that accident. It's not my son. He was a very safe driver. He worked for Max BMW. He was, wore all the gear when he went driving. And he knew he had, he was affected by other people having accidents on bikes. So he was always a careful individual. So when we went down to the scene where he was, it was, there was a tremendous amount of people there. There was friends from his work that came up the road, and there was friends from a car show that came up the road, and it was the epicenter in the center of town. And we immediately saw the effects that it had on not only us, but on everybody around us in the crowd. His friends, bystanders, people just driving by, the fire department, just it's amazing how it affects everybody. So we went home, try to figure out what our life was going to be, and all these people came to our home and gave us such wonderful support, and we realized, like, wow, a lot of people don't get this. A lot of people don't have access to this sort of support, and just lasagnas, or they just say, hey, what can I do to take the load off you for the day? Can I do a load of laundry for you?
We actually had so much support, and there were accidents that happened right after that we said, you know what, there's other families.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need my lawn mowed by 3 different people
Right.
this week. Why don't we go to the lady down the road? She lost her son last week in an accident. And it all kind of spiraled from that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a giant celebration of life, actually a few for Brandon, because he was so just
popular
and amazing.
Well known.
And people wanted to really, show him honor and respect. That one of the name of the biggest one we called Gears in Heaven, a celebration of life.
Mm-hmm. And the name just stuck.
Moved forward from there. It was really fast, and within actually June 10th was our actual 501c3 doctrine day. So we started everything
very
right
quickly
after the accident, because we had to plan something for Brandon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was just how much everyone loves him that made I have so much support as well? Because
it was Brandon. Brandon always wanted to have a nonprofit or a charity organization that helped other people that couldn't help themselves. He talked about it ever since he was a little boy, helping people shovel their driveway, bring down the garbage. He was going to call it Young for Old, because he was really into service, and it really tore him apart when he saw elderly people that didn't have family or a support system and couldn't do those types of things for themselves. So we were searching for an organization to support us, or we could support them with some volunteers or resources, and we didn't really see anything that was kind of in like Brandon's realm of what he really loved.
So we just made it for him. Yeah. It was like keep his legacy alive. He was bigger than life. He was an old soul. He you knew him once, you knew him for life, and everybody said that about him. So it's like he can't just be gone.
And
we have to continue his legacy.
Everyone that was involved in our circle, in Brandon's circle, that came forward, had a very strong set of personal and work experience that they were able to. We all came together and said, "This is what we're going to do." Right. Jennifer's heavily medically trained. I'm a minister. My cousin Sarah was one of the leading psychiatrists in the state.
So
her sister is a teacher.
We just came together, and it just kind of morphed and just developed beautifully on its own, really, from the support of family and friends and him from up above. It just happened on its own, really. It's amazing.
You said something when you were talking about him, which I hear after these types of things, which he was such a safe driver.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So he was actually going straight on the road when it happened. Somebody made a left-hand turn in front of him, and he had no time to react. So he was killed instantly. So yeah, it's you don't have to be. You could be the safest person on the road. If someone else doesn't abide by the rules, it doesn't matter.
Everyone sees it in whatever media form nowadays, on newspaper, TV, social media, whatever. There's accidents everywhere. People going the wrong way. People killing pedestrians. People striking first responders. Drunk drivers. Inebriated in all different types of forms. Medicated. Legalized marijuana. There's all different types of scenarios. Distracted driving. Cell phones. GPS. Just a ton of kids in the car yapping. Globally, it's one of the top killers of individuals that we know of, especially from a non-health standpoint.
I think it's, in certain with a medical unexpected death, you can at least learn the cause. And so when you have these situations with someone who is a safe driver, and then you might not know the cause. You can't find the other driver. They left, or it was swerving away from an animal. And so you only see, there's so many questions, and people have a harder time understanding the loss because people put so much training into being a good rider and doing it the right way.
Exactly. Yes.
And we work with, families of, we call them a motorsport enthusiast, but it's just it's not someone who's really like out on the track, motocrossing, car racing professionally. It's just everything that they're into is just gears, cars, trucks, snowmobiles, what have you. They're at car shows, bike nights. There's a whole subculture and genre out there that we knew about because Brandon was always going to these type of things, and we see car shows when you drive by, but we didn't really understand it.
Yeah, it's a whole other culture and community.
And there's so much
completely misunderstood too, which is sad.
There's so much support, and when they, especially in the motorcycle community, when they hear, they don't need to know you, they just hear that a motorcycle rider went down, and they show. They come to the memorial service. They go to the site. They want to participate and help the community heal.
What an interesting component, because grief is about healing together. We cannot do it alone. And what a way to represent, we should all learn from this. Honestly.
Right. Right. Not everybody has the strength to do it. Luckily, we bonded in a way, we had that type of relationship where we knew we had no choice. Like this was going to happen. You know what I mean? No matter what it cost, no matter what we had to do, what we had to sacrifice, we were going to make Brandon's legacy continue. Like it was just not a question.
And that's a conversation we had, especially with our board of directors as we were forming. What we're going to do and how this is going to formulate, and it's going to start as a snowflake and turn into an avalanche, and it's happening.
But that's why we use our volunteers that have also been through similar situations, and they say, hey, listen, I don't have the wherewithal to do what you've done, but let me call it a family, let me volunteer at one of your events, let me do something in honor of my loved one that I lost, and that helps them with
Write
the
a little,
process as well.
we send sympathy cards, handwritten sympathy cards.
Mhm.
So supply us with some unique and
yeah,
heartfelt messages.
like sayings, whatever.
Sometimes that's when faced with a tragedy, even when you have a large, close-knit support, sometimes it's that support that you got from a stranger, someone who's not even really in the situation, but hits you with something so poignant or just visceral, like the humanity really comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for us, that's what we try to provide.
And we've developed a lot of friendships through this.
There are people who don't show up, right? And so the people who
Right.
do, the new people,
And
are
some
the lifelines.
some show up that are going to start to create dysfunction and disharmony.
Right.
I often say funerals and weddings is when you see the best and the worst in a family. All types of dramas start playing out, especially when there's a death, because then there's a little bit of a blame game, a lot of seeking of questions of, and if there's any disharmony in the family or dysfunction prior, it's only going to exacerbate now.
Yeah.
And if there's exes involved or children involved, things get really murky really quickly, especially if there's money involved. Oh my God, it pulls apart.
It's been difficult.
It's crazy, the drama and the added awfulness to the situation that's created unnecessarily. And the focus is taken off of respecting that individual that's passed or is seriously injured, and not giving the people that need the time to really focus on what's next and how to move forward that time, because they have to focus on all this.
Before we started recording, we were talking about, specifically related to accidents, the things that get in the way of healing as well, the things that take the focus. So all of the, please educate everyone, what we don't know, unless you live it, there's enough that happens in, when you go through loss, closing account, the details, the tasks.
Sure.
But when it's this, it's a whole new world. You were in, like, there are things people don't know.
Absolutely. And there's the process that's behind it is absolutely incredible. Closing the bank account, getting the cell phone turned off, probate courts, leases, notifying insurance companies, lawsuits, all types of
the accident, but yeah, lawsuits. Here we go.
Lawsuits.
If people are in the hospital, they're an adult. Who are you? I'm not going to talk to you. I need to speak with his legal kin or his executor. It gets
murky. The waters get murky.
And there's a whole industry that's a big industry that's behind all of that. The funerary industry. You got to make decisions. You got to make this casket costs this service costs that, and all the extra metals that are around that. Medical examiner's office. You have to call and you have to do this. You have to go and visit at this hospital, and then they're going to be discharged and moved into a rehab hospital. And it's just
it's never ending.
Even
to
really
we're still dealing with things from our own
situation. It's added punishment to the family that's there,
punishment.
that's behind them. Sometimes it's not blood family; it's the friends that are the chosen family, and we call them the family. But it's whoever is there, and sometimes there isn't much there, if there is any at all. And that's what that person found in the community. That's why they were at car shows all the time, because they found a place where they fit in. Yeah. And it's people of all ages.
What does Gears in Heaven do? How do you step in when you hear about a loss?
So right off the bat, sending the sympathy cards.
We try not to ambulance chase.
Yeah, we definitely don't do that. It's very distasteful. But usually it's a representative of the family.
Usually
so a cousin, a nephew says, hey, here's what's going on. There was an accident. We say, okay, well, here's our website. Here's our information. We have a little form that we ask for some information just to like kind of fraud check. And so we know also who is the best volunteer to place into this situation with their expertise. And then we move forward from there. Sometimes it's medical liaison support.
Mm-hmm. Which I do. So if the person survives the accident and they're in the hospital, I could be that person to, say, all right, let's get all the information together. Let's make an informed decision. Because when the doctor's talking to them, they're just hearing blah, 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 blah. They're not really putting it together. The doctors are really not allowed to force a family into one direction or the other. So I'm able to take it and say, this is what I'm presenting to you. This is what I see. Now make your decision, kind of a thing. So I help with that.
And have the right, if a doctor is talking to me and I go back into a room and my family's in there, the first thing they're going to say, well, did you ask them this and this and this? And I'm going to say, no. Right. I didn't even think about that.
Shock.
Whereas someone who's medically trained kind of knows those questions and kind of like add a little bit of added authority behind the family to make sure that this patient's going to receive the utmost quality of care and is not just going to be pushed through the system, because there's so many accidents that, especially in the trauma units, they become numb to it. And
so we do that, but also people just call us just to talk.
Yeah.
We don't have to definitely give them a service. Just knowing that another mother, lost hers, and I can vent now to you. You know what I'm going through.
If there's a memorial,
that's huge.
If there's a memorial service, bring candles to the candlelight vigil.
We have emotional support dogs that we bring to the vigil sites as well.
Families are
generally, so that the children can be with them.
Most families that we encounter are generally not economically prepared for this type of situation, so they need immediate fundraising. So if they have a GoFundMe, we share that through all of our platforms and channels. If they're not tech savvy, we create one for them, and it's controlled totally by them. We place that on our website and promote it. We help them host fundraising events, car shows, bike shows. That's usually the first thing everyone who's in that community wants to do. It's like, hey, we can do this. Let's all come together, and it's an amazing thing, and it delivers some real emotional value to the family, as well as hits them off with anywhere from a couple of $100 to, if it's a monster show, it could be a few thousand, which helps you
bury somebody sometimes.
And it's crazy the costs that are associated. Just for like a pauper style, no frills cremation, it's like $2,000. Some families are looking for rent for this month, and that's the person whose check they were expecting to pay it. So what do you do? And some people, they don't know all of the community, or there's so much coming at them, we kind of become that conduit and say, all right, here's what has to happen. One person does the lawn, this person does the laundry. You have a nail salon, do her hair and nails type of thing. And we ask our volunteers and people that want to help, can you offer? What are you good at? And we try to put that into the needs of the family.
So you're just stepping in and being the support that they need, and that differs from one person to the next.
Every situation is completely different.
Every situation is different. They're all individual. Absolutely.
So how do people find you? Because you also do things in person. You have something called Echoes in the Park coming up that I want to come to. It sounds incredible.
Yes, it's going to be a good time. Absolutely. Yeah, so we rented out a park in Shelton, Connecticut, and it's going to be a day for, those who have lost a loved one. They want to go there and just remember them for the day. Partake in, there's going to be 3 bands, there's going to be 25 plus vendors,
all different types.
Of activities for children to do, face painting, mediums, all sorts of different entertainment for them, food trucks and so on.
So there's going to be some psychic style tarot readers, palm readers, mediums. Animal rescue is going to be there, all about the dogs. Animal rescue, they're going to be there with some of their adoptables. And it's just
Heartstrings
a big
journals.
celebration of life. Yeah, every year we host one. And this year we've gone with a music festival kind of route. And it's called Holy Ghost Park. It's in Shelton, Connecticut. It's surrounded by woods. There's acres and acres of property. There's hiking trails. There's going to be miniature therapy ponies there. We have some really amazing nonprofit organizations that are going to be there with us that day as well. Believe Your Greatness. They promote mental health awareness. They lost their son to mental health, and they started a nonprofit all about music. So we're thrilled to have them join. Vendors of all different types. It's going to be really an awesome day. 5 food trucks.
Beer, wine,
drinks, kids' activities. It's going to be great for everybody.
So healing doesn't have to be something we hide from. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. We can come together and do something outside, do something fun. You can experience all these different ways to heal, like a medium, like a journal. But we might cry, but we can smile, we can laugh. It doesn't have to be this thing that nobody talks about.
Right. Exactly.
And there's some families that they're not able to have access to a place where they can do that or bring everyone, especially if they live in the inner city. Where are you going to put 45, 50 people? Here we can have hundreds, thousands, you know what I mean? And it's people who understand. So if you cry, it's cool, man.
Right. Exactly.
You don't think I cry? Baddies get the saddies. I say that all the time. It's okay. It's what's holding it in is what's going to terrorize you.
Yeah.
And I think that people are beginning, these are the safe places. It's okay to do that here. We are the voices trying to help other people understand this needs to be discussed. We're not okay. Even when we look okay, we cry we cry other days and other places too. And there's not always food trucks and music and safe people around. And we need support all of the time. Can people call you from work? What do people do if they need you on a bad day?
They call me.
When we initially over.
When we initially make contact with them, I tell them, Jeff usually talks to the men, and I to the women usually, and I say, "Here's my phone number. I'm available at 3 a.m. If you just wake up, you just want to scream in the phone and be like, you just."
And they're volunteers.
You're angry. You're mad. I'll understand.
We have some moms and dads, or husbands and wives, or sons and daughters that are like, "You don't think I'm up at 3 a.m.? Give me a call, man. Let me tell you." And that's too the sharing of each other's stories. Sometimes you think you're in a situation, and man, you hear what somebody else has or is going through.
You realize,
and you'll keep your card really quick. Say that's wow, and it helps.
Can someone volunteer from another state? What if there's somebody who really wants to help and is touched by this, but isn't in Connecticut?
That's what's so crazy. Like, we knew in our immediate area we were gonna kind of like be busy, because in the area where we are in Connecticut, especially seasonally, there's a lot of beautiful roads where people take their antique cars and motorcycles. But the power of the internet, California, Alaska, like people started sharing in the Army, blah, blah, blah. So there's little chapters ready to form in other states officially. We just have to go to the secretaries of state. And that's what some people don't understand. It's very difficult to do good, and it's very costly. So we have to apply with each secretary of state. We have to list our board of directors. There's applications. There's a big bureaucracy behind it. So we're officially everything in Connecticut and with the federal government into the surrounding states, but moving into like Georgia, Florida, Alaska, California, Arizona, we have Montana. It's
crazy.
It's beautiful. Around the world, we forget that in America we're so luxuried that everybody has a car. Other countries, trucks, buses, cars are only like private taxi service. Like in Singapore, everyone's on a moped. So our mission resonates. We have lots of followers in Australia, the UK, Africa, a lot of developing countries where they're trying to advocate for road safety awareness. There's some countries where there's no lanes.
It's a free for all.
It's a free for all. There's 5 buses on the same one little road, and it's whoever is the most gumption is the one moving forward. So we have a big uplifting behind us, which is great and beautiful, and something that we're embracing and pushing forward. We always tell people it was our story in Brandon that birthed this, but Gears in Heaven is really everyone that's behind us and has put up fundraisers and has written cards and posted, and that's really what it is. That's the community. That's the bond. That's the organization. We're just the conduit for it. Yeah.
What else should people know that I'm not? We didn't say the date of Echoes in the Park.
September 28th, Saturday, September 28th, and if it rains, it'll be the following day.
The 29th.
Yeah, and it's at Holy Ghost Park in Shelton, Connecticut.
Yeah, from 12 to 7.
From 12 to 7.
Yeah.
$5
entry. It's really cheap.
Really cheap. Kids under 8 for free. Lots of parking. It's all private property. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
We're super excited for it.
Absolutely.
What else? What else should people know?
They can learn all about us on gearsinheaven.org. That's our website. We have blogs, resources, all different types of ways they can volunteer, sign up for our newsletter, donate. Our social media channels, type in Gears in Heaven on pretty much whatever you use: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And we ask people to, share, comment, post, educate, sign up for the newsletters, engage, help us grow.
Right.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. This is its own little population. I'm from Michigan. They have the Dream Cruise. You've probably heard of it. It's insane. People camp out already with lawn chairs and tents. It's not until August, and they hang out to watch the cars go. And I'm like, I don't get it. They just go by.
You don't.
By, and they go back. What are you doing?
They love it.
And they love it. They go the next day.
A whole week, but they're already hanging out. I'm like, what are you doing? They're not here yet.
We realize every day there's something going on. Either a car meet, a bike night, a truck show, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, the weekends, it doesn't matter. And where we are, it's kind of seasonally, but in places like Arizona, California, Florida, it's every day. And then they get those massive ones where they're like bike weeks, like this little town, Sturgis, goes from 30 people to like 50,000.
And in Michigan, I was in Royal Oak, and they had 2 different bike nights because there's the Harley bikes and the other bikes, and they had, they had to have their own nights.
Correct.
Right.
And we try to bring everybody together. Because that was one thing Brandon was really influenced by, was bring the older people together with the younger crowd, bring the sport bikes together with the old muscle car guys, bring those big squatted trucks together with the Harley riders. Like we're all here having a good time, enjoying things. You like things that are really loud and go really fast and they're shiny. So learn from each other. Leave all that. There's so much negativity and drama in the world. There's no need to recreate it and let it fester here. So I'll have a good time. And there's a lot of younger people that are coming up that are enjoying the scene. And it's a good, safe place for them to be. And they learn. They learn metric. They learn about compression. Some of them take it a little too far and they're unsafe, but that's in everything in life, especially as a young person.
We're starting to get into education too, doing kind of roadside traumas, how to, when you're first at the scene, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, things like that. We're getting that together as well. So we're going to start going into maybe the schools, start educating the children about, drinking and driving, or just being safe on the road, or what to use on the side of the road to help somebody. What to use as a tournament. These are real life conversations that we need to have.
Bring them to places like a track where it's safe. It's, you're not a good driver. You're not the rider that you think you are. Let's do the math. Let's do the statistics. This is what happens when you're traveling at 35 versus 65. Because of the video game culture, They're simulated.
Mhm.
They're in a movie culture, the Fast and the Furious, what have you.
Well, they're in a car culture that's electric.
Everything is done
That's
for
it.
you. The car drives itself. It tells you which way to turn. It does the speed control. When you're backing up, it goes beep, 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 beep. Like, you can be a complete moron and be all right in a car. And they give you a license when you're 16. And that's the
It's the
only training you're
craziest.
going to need in America. Once you're 16 and you pass that test, perfect, because the person's sitting right there next to you the whole time,
You're good for
you're
life.
good for life. And there's
Yeah, I'm excited about those in-school classes. Let me know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make them live and virtual so you can get more places.
Wonderful.
that's the kind of support that we're looking for and embrace, because we have limited skills in a lot of areas, and
Yeah, it's all about
limited time.
education. Anything's about education anyway.
We've always said if we help just one person, one family, and we've helped over 50 something already in our general area and across the country, and hundreds more just through contact and engagement. We have thousands of followers on the social media, so it's
growing.
It's growing, and it's got very positive momentum behind it.
Go to gearsinheaven.org. And final thoughts, last words for everyone listening.
Just thank you for listening. Thank you for participating and caring and understanding. And if you haven't lost someone, it's amazing that you're here. And if you have lost somebody, I'm sorry that you're here. But we're all in this together. Doesn't matter if it was an accident. Doesn't matter if it was your son.
Yeah, we're all humans.
We're all humans.
Yeah.
And grief hits everyone. I thought I was a really hard guy. Thought I saw a lot of tough stuff happen, and I would be all right. When I saw my son, I wasn't all right. When I heard my wife screaming, I wasn't all right.
Yeah.
So I understand. We understand. We have a lot of people who understand.
Yeah.
And we're here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for being a man in this world, not afraid to do that, because unfortunately some still are, with the stigmas and the judgments and the careers and the stigmas we are surrounded by. We need anyone willing to say, I've been through this and it affected me. So not only Gears in Heaven, but the fact that you're willing to just say, this rocked my world, and this is how I'm getting through it.
Right.
That's what it takes for someone else to say, you know what, I'm going to pick up the phone. So it makes all the difference in the world.
The only way out is through.
Yes. So everyone listening, reach out, connect with gearsinheaven.org. Thank you so much. Until next time,
Thank you so much.
always be ruthless.